Spider-Man Brand New Day has just started production, and with that, there's been set photos, casting leaks, suit reveals, and so much more. All of that and more I will be tackling in this video, seeing whether or not we can solve the plot of this film before it even releases a trailer. First though, before I want to start speculating on all that, who's the villain and whatnot, I want to get my thoughts out of the way on the suits for this movie. And there's two main ones I want to go over. That is, of course, Tom Holland Spider-Man and Jon Bernthal Punisher. For Tom Holland Spider-Man, this suit is spectacular.
Say that again?
I mean, everything about it just gives classic Spider-Man vibes. You know, the big logo, the raised webbing, even the web shooters, which are actually really bulky, I'll get into that later. They still give the homemade vibe, and it's not super, techy, something that Tony Stark would make. Instead, this feels like something Peter Parker would have to make in his apartment or something, which is just so cool. I mean, the white eyes look great as always. The coloring especially, it's like a toned-down version from the end of No Way Home, which I really like that suit. However, these little tweaks and adjustments they made were probably necessary, and give a lot of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 vibes, if you know what I'm talking about. Pretty cool. Also, the logo on the back isn't the classic Spider-Man logo that they usually put back there, but honestly, that's not a huge nitpick of mine. I think the one they do usually put back there is a little bit blocky a lot of the time, so I actually like how they mixed it up a little bit. Additionally, Tom Holland just looks really well in the suit. At first, in the reveal video, I thought he looked a little bit boyish, and in some of the set photos, it felt like you couldn't see his muscles. But when you got a closer look, I mean, you can see his abs peeking through the shirt, dude. It's crazy, bro. This suit just fits him. And I'm really excited to see this, because even though this is the fourth movie, it feels like this is the first beginning for the Spider-Man character. Homecoming, we did have that original beginner suit, but it didn't feel as classic as this one did. On to those web shooters, though. I do think they are a little bit nasty. They just look like random boxes that are just there. They don't even have, the button that he pushes. I don't know. We'll see how it gets used in the film. Not a massive fan, but we will see. Now, this one's actually recent by the time of recording this video. I don't know when this will be out. But Jon Bernthal's Punisher just got revealed this morning. That suit is clean, boy. Okay, first off, he's keeping the facial hair it appears, which, I mean, good. Jon Bernthal, beautiful man. I want to talk about the suit itself. The logo is a lot shorter than the one he had in the Daredevil series, but I like it a lot. It looks very classic. It's clean. It's white. And just the way the guns are arranged. My only thing probably would be that there's padding on the knees, but nowhere else, so it just looks a little bit random. Overall, though, really cool. I'm so excited to see Jon Bernthal Punisher in this movie. Moving on from just the costumes, though, we need to talk about these set photos, because recently we've been getting the main thing, which is a big truck chase scene, where Spider-Man is swinging after this, trying to stop whoever's driving it like a madman, and, hopefully save the day. Now, there's not much we can gather from this other than at one point Spider-Man chases an armored vehicle. However, if we pick up some extra context clues, rumors, and overall just what has been hinted out throughout the movie, we can probably figure out what's going on. First up, the tank itself has a logo on it with this red Inner Demon logo. And the Inner Demons is a company that Mr. Negative runs. I don't know if company is the right word, but it's his troops. However, this could be another thing. The Punisher symbol, when he recruits all those, ninja guys. I don't know, I haven't really looked into this comic plot line that whole much. I haven't heard that many good things about it. There's two main ways this could go. Number one, Mr. Negative, despite recent rumors, is actually in the movie. He's a villain. And this is one of his vehicles that most likely Jon Bernthal's Punisher hijacked. Because, we've gotten a lot of rumors that he's the one piloting it. And that would just make sense, honestly. So I wouldn't be that surprised if that's the truth. However, I don't know why he'd be stealing one of Mr. Negative's trucks. Maybe it has something to do with the beef between them. Maybe he doesn't like Mr. Negative. I'm not sure. Or, it would make more sense with what we're seeing. Punisher is in charge of this, gang. And they're taking down whoever he sees fit. And this is just part of one of his missions. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of that plot line. So I'm going to stick to the Mr. Negative idea. So Punisher is just stealing this truck from Mr. Negative, and he's going to probably kill someone. It could be Hulk, which is why Hulk's in the movie. It could be someone random. We don't know. But Spider-Man's trying to stop him. We have a lot of scoops recently saying that this is in the third act of the film. However, just looking at it, I find it more likely this is actually the first act of the film, or second act maybe, whenever Spider-Man and Punisher have their first interaction. Because I definitely don't think they'll meet as friends. I think they'll meet as enemies. Also, this isn't something to do with much of the plot, as it is a cool thing about set filming. However, they're using practical effects for the swinging. Now, I know some people are pro-practical, anti, editing or whatever. Personally, I do think the best effects we've ever seen is when it's visual and not practical. I mean, if you look at the Andrew or Toby movies, it looks best when they're swinging in CGI. However, it is really cool to see them use practical filmmaking techniques. Spider-Man is real when you look at that. There's explosions going off, Tom Holland swinging. It is really cool. However, at the end of the day, these are movies, and it doesn't matter what's real and what's not. What matters is how it ends up looking in the final product. John Watts actually said that he'd recommend for the next Spider-Man director to not do the practical thing, because in his words, you think you're going to do it old school and practical, but then it doesn't end up working. However, the new director, Destin Daniel Cretton, has completely ignored this advice and just went on ahead with the practical slinging, which I respect it. I respect it. Is it wise? Probably not, but they're doing it anyway. And you know what? That is fine. Also, a fan asked him if John Berthold's Punisher would be appearing soon, and Tom Holland said maybe. Which, I mean, it isn't which, the fact that he responded, I think that we might see him filming in Glasgow. We don't know for sure, but I mean, why else would they reveal the suit, He's definitely going to be doing something there. And I definitely think we're going to see him, climb out of the tank or something. Because that's not a huge spoiler, but it will get a lot of hype about the movie. Okay, I might make a follow-up video on if more set photos come out, but right now I want to talk about some plot theories. I think each character will have different roles in the film. I think Spider-Man will be an in-depth character study, and like the Batman, it will focus more on the Spider-Man side instead of Peter Parker, and the story will be about him learning to rebalance his life. I believe Hulk will come into the picture, that for most of the movie he'll be a professor at whatever college Peter attends. However, in the third act, Mr. Negative makes Hulk go gray, and so Hulk rampages all over the city. Additionally, I think that Punisher and Spider-Man will have a clash of conflicts when Frank investigates his Feast, that company that Mr. Negative runs, which Aunt May actually worked for in the previous movie, and John Berthold's Punisher is going to figure out some things that he does not like. And because of this, he's going to somehow end up stealing a tank from them. And Spider-Man, not knowing what's going on, is going to try to, stop him. As for some of the more minor villains, like Boomerang and Scorpion, I think those will be villains hired by Mr. Negative to kind of put the blame off himself, so that the general media, like the Daily Bugle, will see them as the villains and not who's actually behind it. The only person I'm really confused on how they fit into this movie is Sadie Sink's character, who we don't know who she's playing. I mean, it's the girl from Stranger Things, in case you don't know. I think there's one of two things. One, Daily Bugle worker. We don't know if Tom Holland's signed up for that job. He's probably just going to college right now. But she could be an employee from there. Or, the option I find more likely, she's at the college he's going to, or the one that Ned and MJ are going to. Because, I mean, they're going to have a small role in the movie, surely. They're not just going to kick them out of the franchise forever. Anyways, thanks for tuning into this video. It's crazy that this is the first time I've talked about this movie on my channel, because it's slowly becoming one of my most anticipated comic book movies. And who knows, maybe I will talk about Marvel stuff in the future. Anyways, I will see you in the next one. Bye.